At exactly midnight, as fireworks exploded above Times Square and the world welcomed a brand new year, history was being made quietly beneath the streets of New York City. No cheering crowds, no red carpets, no flashing cameras, just a raised right hand, a solemn oath, and a moment that would reshape the future of America's most powerful city. Zohran Mamdani, only 34 years old, officially became the mayor of New York City. And with that single oath, the city entered an entirely new era. If this story doesn't sound like a typical political inauguration, that's because it wasn't. This wasn't about tradition. This was about symbolism, disruption, and a message aimed directly at the people. Stay with us, because this moment is bigger than politics. It's cultural, emotional, and deeply controversial. And before we go further, make sure you subscribe to FameLine USA for the most intense celebrity and power stories unfolding right now. Zohran Mamdani didn't take his oath on the grand steps of City Hall like many mayors before him. Instead, he stood inside an abandoned subway station hidden beneath City Hall, a location most New Yorkers have never seen in person. Chandeliers hung overhead. Historic tiles lined the walls. The echoes of a once glorious public transit system surrounded him. As Mamdani raised his right hand and repeated the oath word for word, it became clear that this wasn't just a ceremony, it was a statement. A message to New Yorkers that his administration would be rooted in the city's forgotten spaces, ignored systems, and struggling people. Moments after being sworn in, Mamdani addressed New Yorkers with calm confidence. He wished the city a happy new year and spoke about beginning his term not from above the city, but beneath it. He called the location a testament to public transportation, to the legacy of the city, and to the urgency of rebuilding what has been neglected for decades. For his supporters, it was poetic. For critics, it was political theater. But one thing was undeniable. Everyone was paying attention. What makes this moment even more remarkable is how unlikely Mamdani's rise truly was. Just a year ago, he was polling at around 3%. 3%. Political insiders barely mentioned his name. Powerful donors dismissed him. Established figures underestimated him. But quietly, Mamdani was building something different. A grassroots movement fueled by frustration, affordability anxiety, and the feeling that New York City had become impossible to live in for everyday people. Rising rent, expensive childcare, and costly transportation had pushed millions to the edge. Mamdani didn't offer vague promises. He offered bold solutions. His campaign centered on universal childcare for children up to 5 years old, freezing rent prices for nearly 2 million residents, and making buses free across the entire city. These ideas were labeled radical by opponents and necessary by supporters. Either way, they struck a nerve. New Yorkers listened. They showed up, and against all odds, Mamdani surged from political obscurity to City Hall. But it wasn't just what Mamdani promised. It was how he presented himself, young, calm, unpolished in a way that felt real. He spoke like someone who understood the city's pressure rather than someone managing it from a distance. And perhaps most historic of all, Mamdani became New York City's first Muslim mayor and first South Asian mayor, a symbolic breakthrough in a city built by immigrants but rarely led by them at this level. The following day, Mamdani stepped into the public spotlight with a much more visible ceremony. Standing in front of City Hall, he was joined by two of the most influential progressive figures in modern American politics, Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Bernie Sanders. Their presence was loud, deliberate, and deeply symbolic. This wasn't just a mayoral inauguration. It was a declaration of political alignment, a signal that New York City might now be the epicenter of progressive power in America. Media reactions were immediate and intense. Some hailed Mamdani as the future of urban leadership. Others warned that his agenda carried a multi-billion-dollar price tag that could cripple the city. Cable news panels debated whether his policies were visionary or unrealistic. Social media exploded with praise, criticism, and curiosity. Mamdani had achieved what many politicians never do. He captured the national conversation in his first 24 hours. Political experts quickly weighed in. Fordham University Associate Professor Christina Greer explained that Mamdani's success wasn't accidental. His message resonated because it reflected real pain. Millions of New Yorkers feel trapped, unable to save, unable to move, unable to breathe financially. Transportation costs eat into paychecks. Rent keeps rising. Childcare feels impossible. Mamdani didn't invent these problems. He gave them a voice. But Greer also pointed out the challenges ahead. Implementing Mamdani's agenda won't be easy. It will require cooperation from the state government, federal funding, and delicate negotiations in Albany. New York Governor Kathy Hochul, who faces re-election pressure, may find Mamdani's massive base both a threat and an opportunity. If Mamdani plays his cards right, his supporters could become political leverage. If not, his promises could stall before they ever reach reality. The choice of the subway station for Mamdani's private swearing-in also sparked deeper analysis. Political insiders revealed that the location was carefully chosen months in advance. The abandoned City Hall station represents more than transit. It symbolizes unrealized potential. Once a crown jewel of New York's subway system, it now sits closed, admired only by historians and transit enthusiasts. Mamdani's message was clear. New York doesn't lack greatness. It lacks investment, care, and vision. Comparisons to past mayors came quickly. Former Mayor Eric Adams was known for flashy appearances and nightlife optics. Bill de Blasio spent years distracted by national ambitions. Many voters felt abandoned during crucial moments. Mamdani's approach feels different, quieter, more deliberate, and intensely local. Whether that difference translates into effective governance remains the ultimate question. Adding even more intrigue to Mamdani's early days is his relationship with President Donald Trump. Their initial interactions were tense, with public criticism and ideological clashes. However, a private meeting at the White House reportedly took a more productive turn. They discussed housing, development, and real estate, a topic Trump is deeply invested in. Still, major fault lines remain. Immigration, ICE enforcement, and protections for undocumented New Yorkers could quickly turn cooperation into conflict. Mamdani now faces the most difficult part of leadership: governing, keeping his diverse coalition united, navigating Albany politics, managing federal pressure, and most importantly, rebuilding trust with New Yorkers who feel burned by past leadership. The day-to-day responsibilities of running a city of 5 million people are relentless. Every delay, every compromise, every decision will be scrutinized. This moment isn't just about Zohran Mamdani. It's about what New York City wants to become. A city for the wealthy or a city for the working class? A place of spectacle or a place of substance? Mamdani's underground swearing-in may one day be remembered as either a brilliant opening chapter or a powerful symbol that couldn't overcome political reality. For now, one thing is undeniable. A young, Muslim, South Asian progressive has taken control of America's most influential city. And he did it his own way, quietly, symbolically, boldly. New York has entered the Mamdani era, and the entire world is watching what comes next. So now we ask you, do you believe Zohran Mamdani can actually deliver on his ambitious promises? Or will political resistance slow him down like so many before him? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned to FameLine USA, where power, celebrity, and history collide every single day.